Jim, good to be with you. Thank you for having me.
And you as well. Thank you. In the meantime, the FBI is looking for a missing member of the Proud Boys just days before he was due to be sentenced over the January 6th insurrection. Christopher Worrell was convicted of 7 charges related to his actions that day. He was under house arrest in Florida, but the U.S. Attorney's Office now says he's nowhere to be found. The FBI has put out a wanted poster. Worrell's attorneys have thus far declined to comment. Still ahead, more than 1,000 people missing after the Maui wildfires. What to expect when President Biden arrives there on Monday, plus a devastating attack from Russia in Ukraine. A 6-year-old girl among the dead killed in a missile strike. We'll show her face to you in just a few moments. You're live in the CNN Newsroom.
Let Innovation Refunds help with your ERC tax refund so you can improve your business however you see fit. Rosie used part of her refund to build an outdoor patio.
Blink.
Dr. Marshall used part of his refund to give his practice a facelift. Emily used part of her refund to buy.
I run a wax museum.
Let Innovation Refunds help you get started on your ERC tax refund. You really got the brows.
Let me be direct. You're watching football wrong. What do you call a guy in face paint that can't get the game? A clown.
Sorry, what app was it again? No, just give me a second.
Amateurs.
Oh, sorry, everybody.
DirecTV Sports Central gives you access to every game. So you never have to compromise on game day.
Was that necessary?
I was just illustrating a point.
Oh.
Get in the red zone with SportsPack. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
Oh, Booking.com. I'm going to somewhere, anywhere. A beach house, a tree house. Honestly, I don't care. Hello, humidity. A fancy hotel with a sexy garden.
Landscape architect.
A tiny home with aggressive flair. Somewhere, anywhere. As long as they have childcare.
Booking.com. Booking.
Yeah.
I brought in Ensure Max Protein with 30 grams of protein.
Those who tried me felt more energy in just 2 weeks. Here, I'll take that.
Ensure Max Protein, 30 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar. Enter the $10,000 Powered by Protein Max Challenge.
When you smell the amazing scent of Gain Flings, time stops. And you realize you're in love.
Steve!
With a laundry detergent. Gain Flings, seriously good scent.
Because of these people, I'm beginning to understand
real peace.
Ciao, Roberto.
Whatever it is that you and your friends do it somewhere else. You have 9 seconds to decide your fate.
You don't want trouble?
You've started a war, McCall. All the mafia will come to destroy you.
Hurry up.
You ain't ready now.
The Equalizer 3.
We found multiple bodies. Did you kill him?
Do I look like a killer?
In theaters September 1st.
Your Wyndham is waiting. When bucket lists need checking, points need redeeming, work trips need crushing, or anniversaries need celebrating? No matter who you are, where you're going, or why. With 24 trusted brands by Wyndham to choose from, your Wyndham is waiting. Get the lowest price at WyndhamHotels.com.
Ukrainian officials say at least 7 people have been killed and dozens injured in a Russian missile strike on the northeastern city of Chernihiv. The attack hit a university and a theater. The city is close to the Russian border, but a long way from the front lines. Officials say a 6-year-old girl is among the dead. There she is right there. Ukraine's defense ministry tweeted a photo of her. Officials say Sophia would have started her first year in school in just a few days. Just a precious face, and now she's gone. CNN military analyst and retired Air Force Colonel Cedric Layton joins us now. Colonel, I mean, this underlines underscores, magnifies what Putin is doing, what the Russians are doing. They're targeting civilians. That's what it looks like here. 6-year-old girl, gone. And there's so many cases like this.
Absolutely. And
happening time and again.
You multiply these cases by really thousands and tens of thousands, and every time something like this happens, it should be clear to everybody who is watching this war that this is a war of annihilation. The Russians want to annihilate as much of the Ukrainian population as they possibly can, and to go after people like Sophia, young girls like Sophia, that is showing us exactly what this war is all about from the Russian perspective, and it is all about eliminating Ukraine as a nation.
And I don't know if we show Sophia again, but I mean, just to talk about this point one more time, the Russians seem to be taking this tactic, this approach, that if they can just break the backs of the Ukrainians and continue to annihilate civilians in this fashion, that the Ukrainians will eventually just give up, and they'll say, that's it, no more. But what the Russians have not been able to figure out is that this, I mean, you correct me if I'm wrong, puts steel in their spine.
It does.
Every time.
Well, every time you look at this and you look at the way aerial warfare has developed throughout the years, you see what was thought about in World War II, in the run-up to World War II. People thought, philosophers of air power thought that they could break the backs of civilian populations by bombing them into oblivion. The only thing that really worked in that way was the atomic bomb, in a very brutal way. But this is something that is an absolute failure on the part of the Russians, because it only resolves the Ukrainians. They only want to fight more when things like this happen, and it is a big mistake by the Russians, on the part of the Russians, to do this.
Yeah. Just to switch gears, some officials have told CNN that they worry that Ukraine is stretching itself too thin with the focus on Crimea. What do you think of that?
I think that's a mistake to think of it in those terms. I think it's really important for Ukraine to be able to attack Crimean targets. Crimea is part of Ukraine. They want it back, they need it back, and the targets that they are attacking are legitimate military targets. In order to achieve a military goal, a military objective, you have to go after that objective. You have to be able to attack the forces that are protecting that objective, and you have to be able to execute operations against those objectives, and that is precisely what the Ukrainians are doing. Now, one could question the balance of effort in each of these areas, but the fact of the matter is the Ukrainians are doing exactly what they need to do in order to achieve those goals and to, in essence, soften up the target for further advances on their part.
And the Ukrainian pilots are starting to train on the F-16 fighter jets this month. It'll be a while before those are in the air. But what could that do, when we're talking about missile strikes taking out civilians and little girls like Sophia? And a lot of worries about the counteroffensive that the Ukrainians are undertaking. Does the air power shift the balance a little bit?
It can.
To change things?
It might not protect directly, the F-16 specifically, might not protect Chernihiv, towns like Chernihiv, and people like Sophia in the immediate term. But what it can do is it can set the stage for further advances by the Ukrainians, and that's what's needed. The Ukrainians need to push the Russians back. They need to move things forward, and the F-16 can help on the battlefield. It can help attack targets that are more distant, and it can also allow the Ukrainians to set the stage for further advances on the ground, and that's why the F-16s are important.
And it's going to be fascinating when this gets started, because we're going to be able to see all of this. There's going to be footage of it. We'll have you back and talk about it again. Colonel Layton, thank you very much.
You bet, Joe.
Appreciate it. Okay, coming up next, we're live in Southern California as people prepare for the first tropical storm to hit the state in more than 80 years. We're live in the CNN Newsroom.
We got a Subaru forest through wilderness to discover all the places that make us feel something more.
Subaru is the National Park Foundation's largest corporate donor, helping expand access for all.
The first time you made a sale online with GoDaddy was also the first time you heard of a town named Dinosaur, Colorado.
I just got an order from Dinosaur, Colorado.
Start an easy-to-build, powerful website for free with a partner that always puts you first. Start for free at GoDaddy.com.
This bakery needs new equipment fast to keep up with demand. So they're going to On Deck, the online lender that makes it easy to choose your loan and, if approved, get funds as soon as the same day. Your loan is on deck.
To new beginnings.
All eyes on us.
We need to be our own boss. You only get one life, and you have to live it to the fullest.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission products. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our clients' best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we do better when our clients do better. At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
I'm coming in fast.
It's so musty in here.
Everybody damp red. Everybody damp red.
Damp Rid. Drop in the tab, attract and trap excess moisture, eliminate musty odors.
Everybody damp red.
All right, what are we watching?
Whatever.
Crazy.
I thought you might say that. Oh. Content preference survey.
There's an essay question.
That's optional. Oh. The more data I have, the easier it will be to find something we all like.
Or we could just get Max. It has the best movies and shows we all love.
Or that. That works too. Great idea.
Thanks.
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 Stream iconic series, movies, originals, and family favorites. Max. Plans start at $9.99 a month.
Sleek, stylish, unforgettable. The new Jericho Terrace.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff. Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Giuliani, What Happened to America's Mayor? Tonight at 8 on CNN.
Closed captioning brought to you by Gilt. Visit Gilt.com today for up to 70% off designer brands.
Gilt has the designers that get your heart racing. At insider prices, new every day. Hurry, they'll be gone in a flash. Designer sales at up to 70% off. Shop Gilt.com today.
This just into CNN. President Biden has been briefed on California's preparations as Hurricane Hillary churns toward the state. A storm like this hasn't hit the state in more than 80 years. The National Guard is standing by. An emergency official tells CNN it's an all-hands-on-deck situation. Let's check in with CNN's Natasha Chen in Los Angeles for us. Natasha, what's it like out there right now? Is it starting to pick up?
Right now in Los Angeles, in Hollywood, where we're standing, it's still calm before the storm. But we did hear from officials in San Diego just a little while ago telling people that through that region, people should expect the most intense weather to happen Sunday afternoon. Getting strong rains followed by those heavy winds, especially in the mountainous areas east of the metropolitan area, where we're already seeing in the inland desert areas a lot of closures, a lot of evacuation warnings, like in San Bernardino County. And a lot of officials throughout the area have been talking about how they are trying to proactively warn people, especially flying overhead to the outdoor areas where there are encampments of unhoused people, trying to get them indoors, and to also let residents know that they really shouldn't be out unless they absolutely have to be. Here's one of the officials talking about what to expect for a region that doesn't really see tropical storms.
Normally we're used to small pockets that kind of bounce around.
That's not the case. It's already pouring rain out into the desert and east of us. So it will come and it will have the impact that's projected.
And we are also hearing now from Uber, who told me that they're partnering with the state of California to offer rides up to $40 for people who are trying to evacuate, but who perhaps don't have transportation options. We're also seeing a lot of people throughout the area take precautions, trying to get sandbags from their local fire stations. In fact, the Orange County Fire Authority saying that there's such demand that they had to remind people not to block driveways and entrances with their cars. So it does seem that people are taking heed to these warnings and preparing for this event that really they have not seen before, even though Californians are very used to having to deal with wildfires, earthquakes, and the winter weather. So those who have dealt with flood-prone areas should expect some of the same this time around. But as you heard in that soundbite just now, this is going to be a slightly different, heavier rain event, and people should be very careful out on those roads, Jim.
And Natasha, we just got some new video into CNN that shows authorities in Los Angeles warning people to take cover. People who are living in tents on the streets, that they need to be careful because this hurricane is coming. Let's play a little bit of that video. Yeah, so these are some of the storm preparations taking place in Southern California right now. You're watching some video of authorities taking flight in helicopters, warning people over loudspeakers if they're living in tents on the streets, that sort of thing. They need to take shelter because this storm actually could be very dangerous for them.
Absolutely. And there was actually a question at the San Diego press conference because a lot of entities have been doing the same thing. People asking about those who are currently refusing shelter. And so there's concern for them. So that work is ongoing. We did hear that there were agencies starting to do that as early as yesterday.
All right, Natasha Chen, stay safe out there. Thanks for the update. Really appreciate it. In the meantime, we do have an update on Jimmy Carter's health from his grandson. Jimmy Carter's grandson says, quote, "It's clear we're in the final chapter," end quote. The 98-year-old former president has been in hospice care since February, and his wife, Rosalind, has dementia. Josh Carter says there's always somebody at the house to keep his grandparents company, and that the two are still holding hands. A very touching anecdote there. Jimmy and Rosalind Carter have been married 77 years. CNN reached out to the Carter Center for comment, but we have not yet gotten a response. But an update on the Carter family from their grandson. On Monday, President Biden heads to Hawaii to see the devastation on Maui firsthand. What we're learning about the White House response to the wildfires and criticism the administration was caught off guard. You're live in the CNN Newsroom.
I need it cool at night.
You trying to ice me out of the bed?
Baby, only on game nights.
You know you're retired, right?
Am I?
Yeah.
Save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed, plus free home delivery when you add a base. Shop now, only at Sleep Number.
The majority of my patients with sensitivity, I see irritated gums and weak enamel. Sensodyne sensitivity gum and enamel relieves sensitivity, helps restore gum health, and rehardens enamel. I'm a big advocate of recommending things that I know work.
From meat-free Monday to sizzle pan Sunday. So many ways to save. Life ready, wallet happy. That's 365 by Whole Foods Market.
When migraine strikes, you're faced with a choice. Ride it out with the trade-offs of treating or push through the pain and symptoms. With Ubrelvy, there's another option. One dose works fast to eliminate migraine pain. Treat it anytime, anywhere, without worrying where you are or if it's too late. Do not take with strong CYP3A4 inhibitors. Allergic reactions to Ubrelvy can happen. Most common side effects were nausea and sleepiness. Migraine pain relief starts with you. Ask about Ubrelvy. Learn how AbbVie could help you save.
Okay, everyone, our mission is complete balanced nutrition. Together, we provide nutrients to support immune, muscle, bone, and heart health.
Ensure with 25 vitamins and minerals, and Ensure Complete with 30 grams of protein.
Businesses need 5G solutions today. That's why they choose T-Mobile for Business. MLB partners with T-Mobile to not only enhance the fan experience, but to advance how the game is played. AAA relies on T-Mobile's network to stay connected nationwide so they can help get their members back on the road. And we're helping Pano AI innovate to stop the spread of wildfires. Now's the time to see what America's largest 5G network can do for your business.
RSV can be a dangerous virus for those 60 and older. It's not just a cold. And if you're 60 or older, you may be at increased risk of hospitalization from this highly contagious virus. Not all dangers come with warning labels. Talk to your pharmacist or doctor about getting vaccinated against RSV today.
A man, his family, and his tractor Penny. These are the Upshaws. And this is their playground. There's a story in every piece of land. Run with us on a John Deere tractor and start telling yours.
My active psoriatic arthritis can make me feel like I'm losing my rhythm. With Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm getting into my groove. Along with significantly clearer skin, Skyrizi helps me move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. And is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses. Skyrizi attaches to and reduces a source of excess inflammation that can lead to skin and joint symptoms. With Skyrizi, 90% clearer skin and less joint pain are possible.
Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, had a vaccine, or plan to.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement. And that means everything. Now's the time to ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Learn how AbbVie could help you save.
Why is Aaron happy? Well, Carvana has tens of thousands of cars under $20,000. So Aaron's folks could help hook him up with a new ride. We'll drive you happy at Carvana.
It's 11 days now since those catastrophic wildfires broke out on the island of Maui. Today, the heart-wrenching task of sifting through the scorched disaster continues. The main job, searching for remains. At least 114 are now confirmed dead. Hawaii's governor says 60% of the disaster zone has now been searched. More than 1,000 people are still missing, and thousands more are displaced. Their homes and everything they own now gone. On Monday, President and First Lady Jill Biden will head to Maui to see the fire devastation firsthand and meet with local and state leaders and also survivors. CNN's Kayla Tausche joins me now. Kayla, tell us more about this new reporting and Biden's plans when he arrives in Maui.
Well, Jim, we know that the White House is still working with Maui County officials to figure out the final details of the president's trip on Monday and whether he'll be surveying that damage by land or by air. But one thing is for certain, and that is that President Biden, who often finds himself taking on this role as consoler in chief, will be meeting directly one-on-one with survivors from these hard-hit communities. This afternoon, FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell saying this about the president's visit. I know that his ability to be able to talk to those survivors and hear their stories and stand with them is one of the things that provides great reassurance, but also brings a lot of hope into the community. But Jim, they're going to need more than hope. They need manpower and they need money for this recovery effort. FEMA has told Congress that its disaster relief fund would go negative by September without new funding. But as for manpower, federal personnel on island are now topping 1,000. FEMA provided an update on that breakdown just earlier today, saying more than 600 from the Defense Department and 140 from the Coast Guard are helping with search and recovery efforts. 100 from the Army Corps of Engineers are helping to restore infrastructure. 85 personnel from Health and Human Services are helping to identify remains of victims. Now, FEMA has declined to update those tallies for victims, for the number of those who are unaccounted for currently, deferring instead to local officials and saying those numbers remain very dynamic and very fluid, so to rely on local sources and not on FEMA data there. But Jim, the big question for Washington remains, how or whether they can prevent these extreme weather events from happening or to blunt their impact in the future. We know that a senior White House official briefed President Biden the day that the Hawaii storm hit, but that official telling CNN they knew there would be high winds, but they didn't know that wildfires would follow. Jim.
All right, Kayla Tausche, thank you very much. There are new questions about Donald Trump's eligibility to become president. It's based on a constitutional amendment from the Civil War era. We'll explain. The story's next on the CNN Newsroom.
This just in, got the keys to what you want and what you need. Something new, something sleek, moving to a different beat. Okay, now, can I get a, come on, drum roll? Can I get a drum roll, drum roll? Can I get a drum roll, please? That's nice, yeah. Yeah, can I get a drum roll? Can I get a drum? That's nice.
Let Innovation Refunds help with your ERC tax refund so you can improve your business however you see fit. Rosie used part of her refund to build an outdoor patio.
Blink.
Dr. Marshall used part of his refund to give his practice a facelift. Emily used part of her refund to buy.
I run a wax museum.
Let Innovation Refunds help you get started on your ERC tax refund. Stop waiting. Go to innovationrefunds.com. You really got the brows.
Psst, psst. With Flonase, allergies don't have to be scary. Spraying Flonase daily gives you long-lasting, non-drowsy relief. Psst, psst. Flonase, all good.
Prime Video is entertainment for you. World-changing, nap-taking, role-breaking you. Just as you are.
Honey, something's happened. There's a man who has put a bomb in the car. We can't get out. The car will explode.
Hello, Matt.
What do you want?
Do exactly what I say or I kill you and your kids.
You're all here focused on me. He set me up and you all bought it. I can find him. Hang on, kid!
Retribution, rated R, in theaters August 25th.
Age-related macular degeneration may lead to severe vision loss, and if you're taking a multivitamin alone, you may be missing a critical piece. Preservision. Preservision AREDS 2 contains the only clinically proven nutrient formula recommended by the National Eye Institute to help reduce the risk of moderate to advanced AMD progression.
Preservision is backed by 20 years of clinical studies.
So ask your doctor about adding Preservision and fill in a missing piece of your plan.
Like I did with Preservision.
Now with Ocusorb, better absorbing nutrients.
The first time you connected your GoDaddy website and your store was also the first time you realized.
Well, we can do anything. Cheesecake cookies? The Chookie!
Manage all your sales from one place with a partner that always puts you first. Start today at GoDaddy.com.
Age is just a number, and mine's unlisted.
Try Boost High Protein with 20 grams of protein for muscle health versus 16 grams in Ensure High Protein. Boost High Protein, now available in Cinnabon Bakery-inspired flavor. Learn more at boost.com/TV.
Tomorrow, the whole story breaks down the criminal indictment of Donald Trump in Georgia.
This was somebody obsessed with overturning that election at all costs.
The whole story with Anderson Cooper. Tomorrow at 8 on CNN.
Can a handyman fix my leaky faucet?
How much does it cost to have my HVAC checked?
How do I know I have mold?
Why do water pipes break?
Home questions don't have to keep you up at night. Get peace of mind with Thumbtack. We'll connect you with local pros for any home project, from a small fix to a big remodel. See transparent prices, read verified reviews, and book with just a tap. Thumbtack, the easy way to care for your home.
Little Richard, I Am Everything, Labor Day on CNN.
Despite now facing 91 criminal charges, Donald Trump remains firmly at the top of the Republican primary field. But according to a growing group of legal experts, just a few phrases in the U.S. Constitution could have grave consequences for Trump's third presidential bid. Section 3 of the 14th Amendment of the Constitution reads in part, "No person shall hold public office who, having previously taken an oath as an officer of the U.S., shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof." Earlier on this program, I spoke with renowned constitutional scholars Lawrence Tribe and retired federal judge Michael Ludig, who assured me this matter is destined for the Supreme Court. Take a listen.
That language in the Constitution, Jim, simply could not be any clearer. It is unmistakable in its application to the former president.
What it means is that secretaries of state or other officials who are responsible for deciding who is qualified and who is not will have to determine whether, despite his obvious attempt to overturn the 2020 election and engage in insurrection, whether despite that, somehow Trump gets to run. This is going to end up in the Supreme Court. It's a monumental issue, the most important constitutional issue of our day. And people have got to get used to the fact that whatever happens in these very important trials of the president, under the Constitution's own language, he's simply not eligible to be president again.
Let's discuss with filmmaker Alex Holder. He had access to Trump and his inner circle in 2020 while making the documentary Unprecedented. Alex, great to see you again. You had a lot of time with the former president during the waning days of his presidency. How do you think he would react to what might be yet another court case, this time about whether he's even eligible to be president after what took place on January 6th?
I think in the same way that he's currently dealing with all of this. I mean, essentially these days now, each week we're getting another indictment, and then now I think there's going to be weekly, developments in terms of those cases taking place. I mean, Trump has consistently always doubled down on his positions. He's always said that it's other people's fault, he's right, and everyone else is wrong. So I think we're just going to see more of that, and then more of him trying to undermine and really destroy essentially the fabric of democracy in the United States.
And you were subpoenaed to testify before the grand jury in Georgia, as I recall, because of your time interviewing Trump in those critical days after the 2020 election. Let's play a clip of him talking about the results in Georgia from that December. This was, and we should note to our viewers, this is a full month before January 6th, and listen to how the gears were turning in Trump's head.
They should open it up, verify the signatures. When you do, you'll see that all of those people that signed didn't have the right to vote. They were forgeries and other things. And all we want is that, and that's simple, or a special session. Let their legislature make the decision, because they're already largely on our side, because they see what happened in Georgia. But you have this hard-headed two people that don't want to do it. I think they don't want to be proven wrong. It's almost like they know they're going to be proven wrong if you do a signature count, so they don't want to be proven wrong because it'll look like they ran a bad election. And actually, they'd be heroes. But we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah, Alex, I mean, during that time, he just seems completely obsessed with all of these various mechanisms that are running through his mind in terms of how he can undo the election results.
Absolutely. And in fact, seeing that clip now that we know what was going on due to the release of the indictment, the January 6th and also the Georgia indictment, we actually know what was taking place on that day when I was interviewing him. And also, this is the President of the United States in the White House. I mean, the man with the nuclear football was standing behind me while that was taking place. And there he is, literally trying to undermine the very tenets of democracy. I mean, it was absolutely extraordinary. And on that day, we now know that that was when the Georgia court case was dismissed, where I think it was when he was told not to sign this particular case, and he did. So it's all actually part of these cases that are ongoing right now. And I think seeing it in the context of what we now know it makes it even more troubling that he was trying to say the things. I mean, we need to convene a special session because these people in the legislature were on his side. I mean, it's absolutely remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, what did you pick up in terms of his state of mind during that period?
I mean, to be honest, unhinged, terrifying. I mean, he's a very unusual man. I mean, Jim, you spent a lot of time with him as well. I mean, he has one singular ideology, which is Donald Trump, right? I mean, nothing else matters. So, and what I noticed as well was that all the people, you actually notice in that clip, he sort of looks sort of sideways when he was saying some of the controversial things he was saying. And so he's looking at one of his assistants, but they're all terrified of him. So, there's this really strange dynamic. It wasn't a respect towards the president. It was sheer fear towards him. So, it was just a really unusual situation. And then seeing him again in Mar-a-Lago and then in Bedminster, he just is a very, very dangerous person that needs constant adoration from all the people around him.
Well, that is chilling, the way you described it just there, Alex. As this Georgia case unfolds, I'm sure we're going to have you back to talk about this further. But Alex Holder, great to talk to you as always. Thanks. And again, that material always comes in handy. Really appreciate your time.
Cheers, Jim. Thank you.
All right. Good to talk to you. We'll be right back.
With the Freestyle Libre 2 system, know your glucose level and where it's headed, no finger sticks needed. Manage your diabetes with more confidence. Freestyle Libre 2. Try it for free at freestylelibre.us.
Today, our enemies launched an offensive against Israel. If they reach Tel Aviv, Israel will be wiped off the map. If we have to, we will fight alone.
The Russians are preparing 11 airborne divisions.
When I was a child, they would beat Jews to death. I am not that little girl hiding in the cellar.
Rated PG-13, only in theaters Friday.
My heart failure diagnosis changed my priorities. I want time for the people I love. My heart doesn't pump enough blood. So my doctor gave me Farxiga. It helps my heart do its job better. Farxiga helps keep me living life and out of the hospital for heart failure.
Farxiga can cause serious side effects, including dehydration, urinary tract or genital yeast infections in women and men, and low blood sugar. Ketoacidosis is a serious side effect that may lead to death. A rare, life-threatening bacterial infection in the skin of the perineum could occur. Stop taking Farxiga and call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of this bacterial infection, an allergic reaction, or ketoacidosis.
More time with her sounds good to me.
Ask your doctor for Farxiga for heart failure. If you can't afford your medication, AstraZeneca may be able to help.
I brought in Ensure Max Protein with 30 grams of protein.
Those who tried me felt more energy in just 2 weeks. Here, I'll take that.
Ensure Max Protein, 30 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar. Enter the $10,000 Powered by Protein Max Challenge.
A theme in his life is that Rudy's got to be the star.
To stand up and be defiant. In America, that's what they love.
Giuliani, what happened to America's mayor? Next on CNN.
BetterHelp takes the stigma out of getting counseling.
There's so many people who still have that stigma of going to a physical office or a location to see a therapist.
If I'm a client and I'm looking for help, sometimes it feels like something we should be ashamed of or we shouldn't want others to know.
BetterHelp is important because it reduces the barriers for people getting access to mental health care.
Mom was always very self-sufficient, but we started noticing things were off.
I was forgetting my responsibilities at work.
I told Mom we should visit a doctor.
Alzheimer's. It was hard to hear that.
Early detection gave us time to seek information and support as a family. I've never felt more connected with Mom.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
The Whole Story with Anderson Cooper, tomorrow at 8 on CNN.
Closed captioning brought to you by Mesobook.com.
We've offered a free book about mesothelioma for over 10 years.
Call 1-800-872-4901 or go to mezzobook.com.
Just minutes from now, we're bringing you the CNN original series, Giuliani, What Happened to America's Mayor. Here's a preview. Ken Friedman joins us now. He's a former aide to Rudy Giuliani. Ken Friedman joins us now. I knew I was going to get that. I know I've talked to you before, Ken, forgive me. And you served as a consulting producer on the series. Ken, the documentary does an amazing job of examining how Rudy Giuliani of 9/11, we all remember that, became the Rudy Giuliani of January 6th. And I mean, I think the question is fitting. What happened to America's mayor?
Well, I've spent 4 years trying to get to the heart of that question. And, my educated theories are many. Greed, access to power, need to maintain relevance, all of the above, perhaps, an alcohol problem. But it's a combination of things that made him, what he is today. And I have trouble reconciling, the man that I worked for as mayor and on his campaign with the man he's become today. It's very hard, but I hope people get some answers out of our documentary.
Yeah, and Ken, I mean, the latest story about how he's been asking Trump to help him pay his legal bills, and it sounds like he's in dire straits financially. I mean, just a total collapse of a human being we're witnessing here, it seems.
Yeah, it's true. It's absolutely true. Listen, he had a very expensive divorce. He has very expensive legal bills and expenses, and no one's hiring him to be a lawyer. As you know, his law licenses have been suspended and are in jeopardy. So how do you make a living making $300 cameos? It's not enough.
Yeah. And I mean, what ultimately do you think will be Giuliani's fate here? Is he the kind of person who would flip on Trump?
I don't think anyone goes to jail for someone else, except maybe Michael Cohen and Alan Weisselberg. But, Trump probably made it worth their while to do those short prison sentences. Rudy Giuliani will not go to jail for Donald Trump. Right. But he'll be in court for the rest of his life, as will Rudy. As will Trump, excuse me.
No question about it. All right, well, Ken Friedman, great to talk to you as always. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And don't miss the CNN original series, Giuliani, What Happened to America's Mayor. It's next on CNN with back-to-back episodes. Thanks very much for joining me this evening. Reporting from Washington, I'm Jim Acosta. I'll see you again tomorrow night at 5 o'clock Eastern. Have a good night, everybody.